I had a new lighting setup and I'm pretty excited about it. So I just thought that I would kind of walk you guys through what my setup is, everything from camera to lights to everything. This is just walking into my studio. It's not perfectly clean right now, but as you can see here, let me get over here. This is kind of like the whole setup. Honestly, you just want like as much light as possible, as much light as you can bring into the place to just light everything up, take away shadows and everything in between, because you can always turn light down on your camera. Like you can always change the exposure, but you can only bring so much light in with the camera without losing quality. So bringing as much light in as possible is really key, and kind of where you're placing the lights to fill. So for a long time, I was just using this. This is just a big octagonal softbox, and I will leave the brand names and hopefully the links to all the products that I have or all of the lighting equipment that I have. I may not be able to find the exact ones because some of these things were given to me, but I'll try to get as accurate as possible. For the longest time, I was just doing the octagonal softbox. Actually, whenever I first started my videos, I just had a ring light and that's all I had. And I would just try to stay as close to the wall as possible so that I didn't get any shadows. However, then I got this octagonal softbox and it knocked my ring light out of the park and my ring light broke. So that was another thing. But this one is way better than my ring light because it fills the room a lot more without it being like super, super harsh. I feel like now every time I see a photo or a video, whether it's mine or whether it's somebody else's with a ring light, I can tell that it's a ring light because the light looks a lot more harsh. And this one to me looks very, very soft. So I like this a lot better. I highly recommend soft boxes, especially this big octagonal one. It's super, super nice. And they have even bigger ones if you want more fill of light. But this is a pretty good size for me, especially for the space that I'm working in. That's like my biggest thing. And then as you guys know, I used to have this lamp right here and I just changed it to where I don't even have it in my background anymore because I didn't like how it was like just light right here, you know, and the light didn't feel like it was even all over. So then I realized that I had these guys, like I already had these umbrellas and these little light guys, and I was like, why am I not using those? I didn't use them for the longest time because I thought that I only had one of these and that I needed to buy another one, and so my light wouldn't be even if I only had one of them, obviously. So I didn't use these for a while, but then I was looking through my stuff and I was like, I have two of these. What am I doing? And so I got out my umbrellas and these lights. And one thing, sorry if this video is all over the place. One thing that you should know is that these light bulbs are called daylight bulbs. So they are fluorescent bulbs. They're meant to mimic daylight, so they're not too cool because fluorescent bulbs tend to be very, very cool. But as you can see, even on the camera, like they stay pretty warm, like, but they're not like a tungsten light. A tungsten light is going to be very, very yellow light. These light bulbs are meant to create that clean, like daylight kind of look. And I've noticed that ever since I've had these, which I just had these in my last video that I filmed, it was my first video filming with these guys. Ever since I've had these, like I literally thought to myself, what time did I film this? It looks like the sun is coming through my window because I have a window right there and I can tell whenever the sun is coming in and when it's not. And then I was like, oh no, I just filmed with my new setup because it literally looks like daylight. Like it looks so good. And you can buy these on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that's where I got them. They're just fluorescent daylight bulbs. You just want to make sure that it says daylight because that's the most important thing, but you can buy them on Amazon. They're not super expensive as far as I know. Mine, I believe, came with my box here. So yeah, obviously I have this one coming at me. So this is where I sit. I just have this one coming straight on because it's nice and wide and it kind of fills. And then I have these to fill the background so I don't cast any shadows. Of course, like if you look now, like you can see a shadow, but when I'm all the way over here and on camera, you don't see the shadows because of the camera settings. Like it's not picking up, like it's picking up so much light. And also you have to keep in mind that having all of this white in the background, like from this to the wall, to the book, to the shelves and everything, that's all reflecting light as well that the camera picks up on more than your naked eye will pick up on. So having all of this white back here, it's reflecting that light back into the camera lens, which is why it's not picking up as much shadows as it does in real life. Yeah, there's just my lighting setup. Now, please keep in mind that I have accumulated all of this stuff over time. This was given to me as a gift, and these umbrellas were given to me as a gift. Now, the reason why you want to have the light facing towards the umbrella, so if I were to turn the umbrella around, I would soften the light even more if I wanted that look. But you have to think about, like, not so much how you're seeing the light in real life whenever you're doing your filming setup, but how the camera is picking up on the light. Because if the camera is picking up on the light differently, which most of the time it does, the brightness in this room right now doesn't look as bright as it does on camera. Like it looks way brighter on camera because of the way that the camera picks up the light. And that's what you want to keep in mind whenever you're doing your lighting setup. Here, the light is bouncing off of these because the camera's going to pick up on all of those, what would you call them? Light rays, light waves, or whatever. I don't know. The camera's going to pick up on all of that. I could turn the umbrella completely around if I wanted a really, really soft light coming in. Like I just wanted like a touch of light. But this is reflecting, the way that these umbrellas are designed is to reflect the light back. And that really softens the light, because if I were just to have this bulb facing towards me without an umbrella, like say this wasn't involved at all and I just had this light bulb on a stand facing this way, first of all, it wouldn't give as diffused of a light. Like the light wouldn't go as far because it would basically just be a beam of light rather than having this umbrella to point the light at, and then that light kind of diffuses off of it and spreads out. Like it really spreads out the light. And then the way that I have them set up is just like far back enough to where I don't want them up against the wall, because if I have them too close to the wall, then you'll see like a lot of light right here, but I don't have them so far away that the light can't completely bounce off of the wall. Like you kind of have to have that sweet spot, which whenever I'm deciding how I like the light, I'm looking in my camera. Like I'm not looking at it in person. I always look on my camera and my viewfinder to decide where I like how the light is hitting, or whatever I'm trying to say. There's all my soft boxes, and then this one is pretty self-explanatory. I just try to keep it as in the middle as possible, and then, you know, pointing straight at me. That's not really that hard. I do try to keep in mind that I like to keep this a little bit higher because sometimes I have to put it over my camera, but I try to keep it as directly in front of me as possible. If I have the light too high, then it will look like it's casting a shadow downwards. And if I have it too low, it's not going to be flattering. So kind of this one, you also want to find that happy medium. And then for my camera, there may be some things here that I'll have to make a completely different video on entirely because it'll be very complicated. But for camera, I use a Canon Rebel T3i. And I don't really know much about lenses. I inherited a lot of these lenses. So this is a 24 to 70 millimeter. I don't know what that means, honestly, but that's the kind of lens that I'm using. I really don't know. And then for SD cards, I don't think I have any in here right now, but I have one 16 gigabyte and one 32 gigabyte. So I'll just kind of flip them back and forth if I need it. I definitely recommend getting at least a 64 gigabyte, if not like 128 gigabyte. So let's talk about these cords. So I have this one. I'm really wanting to get a completely wireless remote, but this is just like a little, basically an extension so that I can reach it and focus it from a distance. And then I have this cord. This is a mini HDMI, and it runs and connects all the way to my monitor right here, which this is literally just like a basic HP like desktop monitor. Like this does not have to be anything fancy. Of course, getting things that are more HD is better. And then I have a little note for myself to remind me to turn my mic on and off. Speaking of the mic, let's get into that because that's where this white cord comes in. So this white cord, this is just like a basic like headphone jack cord, and it plugs into this. By plugging this into here and then plugging my mic into this board. So the sound that the mic is picking up basically runs into this board and then runs into my camera. But I literally never touch anything here. Like if I ever have to move the mic, because the position of the mic is very, very important. I don't know anything about positioning in the mics and stuff like that. That might need to be a whole different video, and I might have to have my husband do. So then I just have my camera on this tripod. Here, there's the brand. If you are looking into buying a tripod for your camera, I highly recommend getting this attachment if the tripod does not come with it. Let me show you. This attachment, like some tripods, you can attach one of these to it. This one comes like this, but some of them you can buy this attachment for and it'll just screw into the tripod, and it's basically just a way for you to unhook and hook your camera back in without you actually having to screw it and unscrew it, if that makes sense. Any lights that you buy or microphones or cameras or whatever, buy a tripod with them. Just buy a tripod with them, because seriously, you can never have enough tripods. If you don't know what a tripod is, it's this. It's what holds anything. So I can take this off. Like I can actually take the lighting fixture off. It's not attached to all of this. I could put like one of those lights on it, or I could put my microphone on it, depending on the attachment that it has, because all the like tripod heads, like this part inside here, they're all a little bit different, like different sizes and stuff like that. Most of the softbox tripods are pretty much the same size. I have at least 3 stands for my softboxes, if not more. So this is an interesting attachment. This is something that you can buy on Amazon, which is where I got mine. So this basically slips on there, and as you can see, it screws in, and then it has a little hole right here that you can put the umbrella in. So you'll just unscrew this, slip that umbrella in, and then tighten it back up. All of this is part of the lighting fixture. So this fixture was meant to be able to hold an umbrella. This tripod, and this tripod are all the same kind of tripod. They all can do the same thing. It just depends on what fixture you're putting on top of them. This is basically what it looks like from me sitting in my chair, and I have my little table in front of me, which this is actually an old piano bench that I had from an old piano that I had, obviously. I have my camera here, and then as you can see, my monitor down on the ground here, and then I got my slippers and my paper towels underneath, and then normally I have my trash can right here, or I used to have it on this side, but now that I have my monitor there, I have it over here, but right now it's over there. The mic that I have is, my husband could tell you a lot about this because he did a lot of research, and he actually got this mic for me for Christmas. It is a Geoxor SGC 598. And this one is actually pretty inexpensive, and it's just as good a quality. Like there are people that pay hundreds of dollars to get a mic that is this good quality, and some people even say that this quality is better. Then there's like one other mic that my husband was telling me about that a lot of bloggers and YouTubers will get, but this one is just as good, if not better, and it's way more less expensive. Like I think it's under $100. So yeah, this is a very interesting setup that we have here. I was trying to remember what we did. The stand that we have here, this is actually not a tripod. This is a mic stand. And then we just put, I had this attachment that basically turns a normal stand into one of these kinds of stands so that I can put other things on top of it. The way that this mic is designed, it's actually meant to sit like right on top of the camera. But since this has the flash attachment, basically I can just slip it right in there so that I have the mic closer to me. I have it right above me in the chair, and that makes the quality a lot better since the mic is as close to me as possible, because the closer it is to me, the better the quality of the sound will be. Another thing in your sound is that you want to be catching as many sound waves as possible. And this is the biggest mistake that I think beauty bloggers make, is that they don't have much, if anything, in their room that's actually catching their sound. It does not matter how expensive your microphone is if you don't have anything in your room that's actually catching the sound waves. Because what causes a lot of like bad quality in your sound is that there's too many sound waves bouncing off of the walls and coming back into the mic and sounding really echoey or sounding really nasally or picking up on a lot of white noise or whatever it may be. So actually having all of this, so this is just a bunch of foam pieces, and foam can actually be pretty expensive. So look out on like Facebook groups and Craigslist and stuff like that, or just use what you have in your house. Any like piece of fabric that you can bring into your room, whether it's blankets, pillows, like carpet, anything that you can bring into your room to catch sound waves is going to help. So I have those little corner pieces over there. We tacked all of these foam pieces to the wall and even to the ceiling, as you can see. Obviously the big blanket that we have clipped up onto, this is like a background, this thing that holds backgrounds. We literally just use it to throw a big comforter over and clip it so that since I talk this way, like I sit in the chair and I talk this way, all that sound is being caught and it's not bouncing back at me, or as much sound as possible is being caught. Like honestly, if we could just fill this whole wall, like everything with carpet or whatever, that would be the most helpful thing, because that would give us the best sound quality, because there's nothing for the sound to bounce off of. So even like having these cloth drawers help, having carpet floors helps, having this blanket and this chair here helps, like even having the curtain helps. Like literally any piece of fabric helps, and the more cushiony it is, the better, because it'll absorb more sound waves. That's pretty much it. I'm working on getting a new table and a new chair, because I want a chair that's a bit smaller, more compact, so it doesn't take up so much space in the middle of the room here. So I'm working on doing that, and then I'm also working on getting a new table. So I think that's pretty much it. I've been thinking about doing a couple of videos. One of my organization for my makeup. So tell me if you guys are interested in that and how I organize my makeup. And then also I'm thinking about doing a video on how I edit my videos. I know that I had a request for that a while back, and I would love to do it, but that one will be a little bit more in depth, and I'll definitely have to get my husband in on that, because he helps me edit my videos. Just tell me what you guys think about those video ideas. I hope that you found this video really helpful and informative, and let me know if you have any further questions, if I missed anything, because I'm sure that I did. I am definitely not a pro at this. I just have kind of gathered things from what I have picked up and what I have learned over the years. So this is where I am now. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in Monday's tutorial.